welcome to Extreme Memories right here on the Wrestling Chatter YouTube channel. Welcome everybody, my name is Kris Kloss and this is another exciting episode. Today we talk to Rauchy Rico, Rico Dynamite, Joey Rico Dynamite, all those names, but it's one guy. This was one of those guys kind of behind the scenes back in the day of the original XPW. He was a member of the Asylum, the official training ground for XPW professional wrestling. And you know what? I got to tell you, this guy made a name for himself after XPW on the scene here on the West Coast. We talk all about that. Some stories this guy had. Yeah, some shady stories of the days at the Extreme Associates office. Wow. This is Joey Dynamite. He gets a little raunchy. Rauchy Rico. This is Extreme Memories. Rico Dynamite, Joey Rico Dynamite, Rauchy Rico. Hey man, welcome, my friend. It's well, it hasn't been a while, but it's been a while from what we're going to be talking about right now. Welcome to Extreme Memories.
Well, thank you guys, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I saw you a couple of days ago, but it's been a while per se.
Right. Especially about what we're going to be talking about, which is let's talk about it, man. You were one of the let's say if we had like you know how WWE has the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, they have the wrestler wing, and then they're thinking about having a jobber wing, and then that was the Asylum students. That's where you had to start somewhere. And so for those that don't recognize you from XPW, you're very recognizable now. You made a lot of waves since then, and we'll talk all about that. But you were one of the original students of the original training school for XPW, the Asylum. So we'll talk all about that. Can you really quick though, Rico? Can you tell the fans how you got started? When did you start like appreciating the business of professional wrestling to where you knew like, oh, I want to be a part of this?
Man, like I think I'm like everybody else. Like was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s as a kid. So man, like my earliest memory of wrestling, my earliest memory was when the King Cobra bit Macho Man.
Yeah.
That was like my earliest memory. I was probably like 8, maybe. So, but I would watch him, man. I was a big fan of Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. I wasn't a Hogan guy. I went to LA Sports Arena and I watched Henning wrestle Bret Hart, Intercontinental Belt. And ever since then, man, I was just like, I learned how to do the sharpshooter, looking at Bret Hart, like doing it to Papa Shango on like one of the magazines. It was he was like on the cover of the magazine in like 92 or 93. And he just had it synced in. And when I learned how to do the sharpshooter when I was like 8 years old, like without anyone teaching me, I just knew that I was hooked for sure.
Literally, you got hooked in the sharpshooter.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, cool, man. So, all right, so we're about 8 years apart, I would imagine, and yeah. So fast forward. That's cool, man. You went, because a lot of like I had Watts on our other show, Cali's Finest. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this, be sure to hit that subscribe button as you're watching, and throw a comment down below. But he was telling me he's about the same age you are, and he'd never been to the Forum. He'd never been to the LA Sports Arena, and I saw him at the Forum at the last AEW show, and he's like, "Hey, that was my first time I was ever there." I'm like, "You're from LA? That was your first time?" And he was a little baby actually when he went to the sports arena. But yeah, those places are great memories. Kind of like they were relics of older places that we got to see still when we were kids.
Because I also like, I didn't mean to interrupt. I never went to the Grand Olympic until XPW.
Wow.
Before that, it was just LA Sports Arena for like WWF. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, because they stopped doing shows in, I want to say 83 or 84 was the last time wrestling was at the Grand Olympic until XPW came back in the early 2000s, about 20 years later, pretty much. But But no, that's very interesting. And you grew up in Southern California, yeah?
Yeah, I grew up in L.A. in Pico Rivera.
Oh, okay. Another home of XPW. Um,
Yeah, dude. I know it was close to my house when we would do ring crew there.
yeah. Okay. So then, speaking of that, speaking of ring crew, and it wasn't just the asylum students, because a lot of us in the early days of XPW, man, we had to pitch in big time. And speaking of the guys that were guaranteed to be doing ring crew, the asylum students, and for those young people out there, that's how you break in the business. You don't just go on the back and you're not expected to do any helping out in any way. But before we get to that part, talk about what you were there for, which was the training, and how did you find out about the asylum XPW, and how did you go about getting involved in signing up?
Well, I was I was a huge mark for the franchise Shane Douglas back in the day. The franchise character. I just thought it was a badass character. The ECW franchise. And a buddy of mine, we were in high school. I think we were like sophomores or juniors, and he got a flyer, an XPW flyer. I think it was going to be their first show at the LA Sports Arena.
Okay.
And then in like April of 2000, it was like right after the franchise came in like the Hollywood theater. I don't know where he debuted, but anyway, so he got me a flyer. So we went to the show. I remember the year 2000,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw just like guys doing ring crew, and it was like Leroy because they were like a year ahead of us.
Yeah.
Leroy, I believe maybe Carnage.
Zach.
I think, yeah, Zach. Yeah, oh my God, yeah, Zach. Um, John Weber. All
Low,
those guys.
low key Steve.
And yeah, and we just asked, how can we help do this? And they told us there was a wrestling school, but we obviously couldn't afford it. We were teenagers, so we really just had to wait till we graduated high school. But I
Okay.
knew about the asylum in about early 2000.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I mean, I loved XPW, especially when I saw Chaos. Kid Chaos was my favorite, no matter what. After, like, I went for Shane Douglas, but when I saw Kid Chaos wrestle, dude, that was it, dude. I was gonna go to the asylum for sure, guaranteed. I knew, like, when I was like 16 or 17 years old, that I wanted to go to the asylum for sure. Let's see, I graduated high school in 2001, so it'll tell you how old I am if you want to do the math.
Mm-hmm.
I just turned 39 this year.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So the same buddy, he's like, hey, I'm gonna go to there's an orientation. Like I wanted to go, but I wasn't sure. Like I had gone to EWF to Jesse's for like 2 weeks, but I was still a junior
Oh,
in high
wow.
school, and it was just too far. It was in San
Yeah.
Bernardino, and it was just too far, like way too far. But we
Right.
graduated high school. Like I worked, I literally worked at a warehouse. Minimum wage was $6.25 back then.
Yeah.
The gas was $1, so I mean, I worked there for like 3 months, saved up some money, and around August, I would say like September 2001, started my training at the XPW Asylum, man. I wasn't sure, but like I said, my buddy from high school, his name is Johnny Suarez, Johnny Nightmare. He ran
Yeah.
Hybrid Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
years.
Culver City.
So yeah, he was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go to the school. You want to go?" And I was like, "Fuck it, dude. I mean, it's now or never. Let's just go. Let's
Yeah.
just do it."
That's
So I
right.
started training in September of 2001, around
Okay.
there.
All right. So yeah, that's right around the time we were still at the Olympic Auditorium doing
I would
shows.
say, I mean, it was we went orientation and it was pretty scary, dude. Like honestly, like I was 18 years old, all skinny, all We went and
Yeah.
Supreme was there, Dynamite D was there, and there was like maybe like 20 to 25 like potential like trainees or whatever. And like Supreme was just, he was just being Supreme, just talking shit. You have to fly, you have to do this, we're gonna do this, you have to do that. It's pretty intimidating. Dynamite D, great guy. We miss him to this day. It's been like what? It's been like 15 years already since his passing. Yeah, well, I mean, I think they have to be. I mean, I don't know. They
Yeah.
weren't like they weren't saying they were gonna like beat our ass or anything like that, but it was like okay, like it was very like important that we give our $500 down payment and our $250 monthly.
Right.
And if we missed a payment, they were gonna send Supreme to our house. But like we're all young, so if you're a kid, you really don't know. You're like,
Right.
fuck, like is he gonna really go to my house and
Exactly.
like knock on
Exactly.
the door and my dad's gonna answer and he's gonna be like, hey, your son owes me, $250 or whatever. So it's pretty intimidating. I mean, out of all those people at orientation, I want to say like there was maybe like 5 or 6 of us that actually like signed up. Me and my
Yeah.
friend Johnny included, and then just whoever, Mr. California. Everybody knows the infamous Mr. California. But yeah, man, it was like I was just excited, man, just to see the ring, just because I mean, like I walked in at orientation, I think I saw like Johnny Webb there or whatever,
Yeah.
and like
Probably.
when you're a kid and you just kind of like watched the XPW shows for like over like a year and a half, like we would go every month to the sports arena or wherever, and to me they were like stars. They were pretty much like.
Yeah.
So like it was just like well, I was just ready to go, excited to do it, and scared, but I mean, got to do it.
It, you came in and you trained and you made the cut, and no surprise right there. Most people that sign up for pro wrestling, they don't realize how difficult it is, and most of them will not make the cut. Now, your name, you became Joey Dynamite, Rico Dynamite, and now Raunchy Rico, correct?
Yes,
Now, was Joey Dynamite, if I remember correctly, was that also a little bit of a tribute to Chaos and Dynamite D?
yes, that's exactly what it was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've told a story. Well, I think I've told it to like people, but not like for the internet to know or whatever. I want to say the internet to fans.
Yeah.
Originally, like I didn't know anything. I was like, well, what am I gonna be? Like, what's my name gonna be? Like when I kind of was able to wrestle in the endings, I did like 2 shows in a mask for Henry. Remember
Yeah.
APW LA? It was
Yeah.
something else before. I just can't remember what the show was called. It was before it was APW LA. It was something else.
I
It
know.
was
Golden
uh
State. Golden State.
there we go, Golden
Yeah.
State. So I got a booking through another rinker guy, Josh, Boxcar Josh, Timmy Reed, and he's like, "Hey, can you still do all those Hurricane Ranas and all that?" So I was really skinny back then, so I was like, "Yeah." And then Henry was like, "Yeah, bring a mask," and I didn't bring a mask, so he gave me a mask, and he's like, "Pick a name," and I was like, "It was a mask with like fur on it, like a tiger mask
Okay.
type. It looked like tiger mask, but it wasn't that." And I was just like, "Oh man, the blazing tiger." So I was like the blazing tiger for like 3 4 months,
Okay.
just because I could do like Hurricane Ranas, and I
Yeah.
wasn't I wasn't really good at that, but I could do like basic lucha moves, I guess. But after that, I was just like, I don't want to. I'm not a luchador. Like I couldn't even do a backflip. Like I was skinny, but I just wasn't like a luchador.
Yeah.
Started lifting weights, gained about 30 pounds, some fat, some muscle, and eventually, like when we started hybrid pro wrestling, I pretty much pulled D and Chaos aside, like the day of the show. Like they advertised me as Joey Dynamite, but like the day of, I asked Dynamite D, and I was like, hey, we were kind of like the last class of XPW, and I kind of consider me like one of your like last students,
Yeah.
at the time being. And it was like him, Angel, and Chaos that trained me the most. Well, it was
Okay.
Dynamite D, but it was like those 3 guys. So I was like, I want to be, Joey Dynamite. And then Chaos and D, they like talked about it for a little while at the bar or wherever we were, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. So I just became Joey Dynamite, and it was a tribute to them because I had no idea what I wanted to be really, and I was like, well, I mean, this sounds pretty cool. I mean, both their names, Joey Dynamite. So I
Yeah,
became Joey Dynamite around
absolutely.
2004, 2003. So, man, I feel old saying that. 2004. Been around for a long ass time.
Well, man, that's cool, man. It's good tributes to you, giving good tributes to them.
But
Um,
if you want to know how I became Rico,
yeah, that too.
Since you asked me about it, Angel, hardcore homo Angel,
Yes.
he just said, yeah, because when we started the Santino Bros at my house at the school in Norwalk, um, they said Angel would always show up in the morning and he would say that I look really raunchy.
Hmm.
He was like, "Oh, you look raunchy. You're like that UFC fighter Rico Rodriguez." And he's like, "You're Latino. You shouldn't be a Joey. You're Mexican. You should be like Rico." And I was like, I mean, I don't really like it. And he should be raunchy Rico. So then I was like, well, can I keep the Joey? So then it was like Joey Rico Dynamite. But then it like after like a year or two, it just was like just raunchy Rico.
Okay, and then
But I
you kind
got Rico through the
of
hardcore homo angel. The best thing that happened though, it was like it kind of just rolls off your tongue, raunchy Rico.
Rico, yeah, and then in a way you already gave your tributes, and now you kind of came into your own at that
Yeah,
point.
and my own because I was kind of like it's hard, man. I mean, now I feel we can help a lot of the guys do a lot of stuff. Not like like I'm a big star but we've been around so long you can pass
Right,
knowledge and not be a
right,
complete dick to people. But when I
exactly,
started, it was kind of like fuck you, like they just no one would help you. It was like you're on your own. Like
right,
not that they should help you, but it was everyone doing their own shit. Like I'm trying to get my stuff in and do what I need to do, and everyone else fuck off.
exactly. Let me ask you. That's interesting. Now we see the Genesis, Joey Dynamite, Rico, Raunchy Rico, and all the synonyms in between after your training at the asylum. Now, speaking of the asylum, of course, that took place in the offices of XPW, and the offices of XPW was the offices of Extreme Associates. Do you have any crazy stories about all that in the
Wait,
offices?
wait, have you guys had any of the students on the show yet or no? Like
A couple, yeah, a
who
couple.
was on there, if you don't mind me asking?
Stepfather, uh,
Okay, I got.
Sexy Chino. Uh huh. What was
I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit that happened, dude. It was like I love the training. I love Dynamite D. Webb would be a big help. Joey, but sometimes they wouldn't let us in because they're over there filming,
yeah,
and it was a little annoying. We'd show up and they're like Kevin Kleinrock would be like, "Oh, you guys can't go in there," and like they're like filming a scene, and then we show up and there's like a pool by the ring with like water in it and like just like whatever they were doing, filming whatever. One
yeah,
time, we were in the middle of training, and then they filmed the scene in the ring. It was a girl. They're like, did you hear about the bottle in her privates? Can I say we
I
can
got
cuss, right? We can say or no? I've already
sure.
been cussing, but
You
pretty
can
much
paint the picture if you want. Yeah,
we're in the middle of training. I don't remember who came. They're like, "Oh, we need to film a scene, and we need to have you guys cheering." So they like put a tarp in the ring, and they're like, "We're not gonna show your faces, but we want to hear you guys clapping and cheering and just making a ruckus." So
yeah,
the girl was supposed to stick. No, it wasn't a bottle. It was a can. It was like a beer can. She just pretty much just fucking the beer can, I guess, masturbating herself. But like, it went in there. Dude, I was 18 years old. I mean, I've obviously, whatever, seen shit, but I was, seeing it live like that, it's kind of like,
yeah. It was
and then we had to like be cheering. It was like the weirdest shit ever. It kind of ruined the training because they had to clean the ring, they had to clean
oh
the
boy,
mat. Like it wasn't even like a turn on. I guess if that makes any sense. You would figure
yeah.
like when you're 18 years old, you see a naked chick with like big old, but it was just kind of like fuck. Like I want to go in the ring and do some rolls or whatever.
It's
I mean,
it's like
it was a lot of things like that.
it's definitely not as glamorous as one would think.
One time they did they we were running the ropes, and I think, man, I just can't remember the names. I remember faces of guys that would come out, like producers and the people that would run the porn side of it. And they're like, we're running the ropes, and they're like, whoever can run the ropes the longest, um, they're gonna get a blowjob from one of the porn stars or whatever. Lo and behold, I ran the ropes the
Oh
longest.
no.
I don't remember how long it was, but since I was in pretty good shape and I was kind of thinner than everybody, I mean, I don't remember how many minutes it was, but I did the longest. I denied it, just I was like, not that I didn't want it. It was just kind of like,
This is
fuck, how many has she sucked already? Like,
oh yeah.
before me or something. I don't know. I had a
And
girlfriend at the time too,
there
and
you
so I
go.
wouldn't think it would be, you know. But like,
That's
I
good.
still, it wasn't my thing, like
Yeah.
I mean, it was just kind of like, cool. I know I passed. But it
It's
was like
yeah,
a lot of stuff going on like that.
like you said, it's one thing to watch it on video, but then when you're there and you see how it really works, it's like it's pretty shocking, especially to some innocent kids. Yeah, we're in the world of pro wrestling, but it's like from our childhood, whereas this is whoa, this is ultimate adult stuff here,
Uh,
So
Fucking dudes pissing on people
oh my
in the
gosh.
little pool, like someone, like a 7-year-old lady with like just a young dude, like, oh, just crazy ass shit.
It's
Little people. Like, it
yeah,
opened up a lot
yeah,
of like stuff that I had never seen.
little
Because
people.
back then we only see shit on like VHS or
Yeah,
like
right.
on a magazine. We can't just click on the phone and just open up whatever we want.
Well, it's amazing. We've talked about this too, how like someone could watch this show right now and say, "Oh, I can't believe they're talking about that." However, like you said, when at that era, you had to really go the extra mile to get an adult video. You couldn't just easily access it
Yeah,
from
we
wherever you
weren't
were.
just anywhere.
And when we were kids, it was maybe a Playboy magazine, something like that, or you get a video. However, as much as we're talking about something maybe somebody doesn't want to hear, one thing that everybody is ignoring today, there's so much social consciousness for social situations now, very high. um, it's very high in our consciousness, but what nobody's talking about is kids seeing pornography, because at a very young age, you're gonna a kid today at like 8 or 10 years old is gonna see what we saw for the first time when we were in our early to mid 20s. But you and I saw it a little earlier because we were working at Extreme. But the world at the same time was more innocent while we were in that extreme world. See,
Yeah.
we were a very few people that were watching that. Whereas once you step out of that office, it's completely innocent. Today, it's readily available, so everybody's looking at it. Nothing's innocent anymore on a wide scale. So
Oh
so
yeah.
it was almost like a little bit of a more of a forbidden fruit when we were working there, because it was it was just this little office is doing this, and the rest of the world is not doing this kind of stuff. Now every kid, everybody has access on their phone. So if anybody complains about us talking about this stuff, what they really should do is complain about why kids have such easy access to all this
Yeah,
adult.
you're right. I
Yeah.
mean, like, it is a sensitive subject, but I mean, it's not like, how can I say it? It's just part of where we trained. Like, I've talked privately to, like, guys have asked me, and it was like, it's literally what I say. Like, we really weren't involved in it in
No,
any way.
but it was there.
I'm sure, like, some guys could have, like, they wanted to, maybe. I mean, I don't know how that works. But like, like, no one ever came up to me and be like, "Hey, do you want to film a movie?" Like, they wouldn't really do that.
No, no.
Nobody. Rob Bab could come in and he would just talk shit or whatever, but no one would actually like ever say, be like, do this, like, they because they knew it was like totally different. It wasn't like what we were there to do. Though
Right.
we would see stuff concerning that, we weren't really like. oh, let's go see. Like it wasn't like anything that we were involved with, or I'm sure none of us really wanted to even see it or kind of, you know, be a part of it per se. It was just part of where we trained.
Exactly, man. Um, let me switch gears a little bit. Go back to the wrestling side of things. So okay, you before I get to like because you didn't wrestle for XPW until the reunion shows, and
Yeah, dude.
you did a whole lot before. However, during the original XPW Rico 1.0, um, was there plans because the asylum students they were grooming you guys to become the next crop of stars had the league kept going, and was there any plans as of yet at the time you were there to maybe some ideas they had for you to
I'm gonna be honest. For me, I wish,
okay,
but
but
there wasn't any.
you were newer, you didn't have seniority.
Yeah, I want to say that from what I hear from like maybe like wrestlers themselves, like Angel or even like Sylvia,
Yeah,
Jezebel, she worked there. Like I probably would have been one of the guys just because I was uh like I was one of the better ones. I want to say.
yeah,
Like I don't
I
want to say,
agree.
"Oh, I'm
I
so
agree.
good" or anything like that. But I was kind of like
um,
I caught stuff. I mean, I learned stuff pretty quickly.
yeah,
But
I
like
remember.
I know there was guys, man, that they wanted it bad and like they quit just because they weren't gonna get a spot. Guys
Right.
like Leroy, Zach, and
Yeah.
I understand their frustrations because, dude, it was like we're building a cage. We're up till 5 in the morning with a ramp. We're up cleaning up all the tacks, bringing the ring back, setting it up for training for the next week. We're moving the U-Hauls. We're there at 9 in the morning at the show. Maybe not nine. Let's say noon, and we're there till like 3 in the morning. And like they never guys that had already been there for years that were ready to wrestle,
Yeah.
but like I could understand their frustration, like stepdaddy like John Weber, like of not getting a spot or Brett. But like if you think about it, like there was no way, with all due respect for myself too included, that any of us could have taken like uh, a spot, let's say like Juventud or Sabu or the guys they were bringing in. Like there was no way we were gonna get a spot unless there was something that they were looking for specifically, right? Does that make sense? The
Yes.
shows were kind of like they were like big time shows. They were like it was big, like it was WWF, WCW before it went out of business, and then like ECW went out of business. And I
Mhm.
want to say XPW was a player, in my opinion, just from being in the inside. So it wasn't like even
And
for me, like I was like 150 pounds. Like I wasn't gonna like I could probably get jobbed out. I might have a match like that,
in
but
some
like,
ways,
see, like
in some
it was hard to get
in so
a
it's
spot.
yeah, in some ways what you just said, never really talked about it on this show, but you brought up a good point, which is XPW, and admittedly so, its feud with ECW helped get it on the map, right?
Yeah,
And so now you're kind of correlating XPW with ECW, okay, in the year 2000. Um, then a year later, ECW and WCW go out of business. So you're right. A lot of people don't talk about that because there really wasn't a fourth. It was WWF, WCW, ECW, and then there really was a big drop off. But XPW was right there, hovering at that fourth spot. And once WCW and ECW went under, in some ways it made XPW feel a little bit bigger at that time.
yeah, because look who came. Who
Yeah,
came? Like
yeah.
New Jack,
Look who came, and look who held on when the other two died.
New Jack was there.
Yeah,
Sabu, Terry Funk, Hoovy,
I
Damien, Halloween.
Super
just
crazy.
honestly, just like if you really think about it, it was like a show full of stars. Like we had like the middle card guys, but everyone was like you had to. I wouldn't say you had to be good, but like you had to like stand out. And I know for a fact, like I said, with all due respect to all the students that we had hard work and did all our shit, like there was like I feel personally there was no way some of the guys were gonna get a spot. Like I said, myself included. Maybe later on, if it would have lasted like a couple, like because they went out of business in like, what 2000,
1.
2003 or 2002. The
Yeah.
XPW.
Oh, 3.
Okay, so like my first match was in 2002.
Yeah.
So like I maybe I only had like 6 months, and then like XPW went out of business.
Right.
So maybe if they would have held on for another 2 3 years, maybe I would have wrestled there.
Yeah.
Maybe the other guys would have, but it was at that time it was too difficult because there were so many stars,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
That's true, and it would have had to organically happen in a way to kind of not disturb the stars that were there, but also not make it about a league that's only about these former ex ECW stars. Um, let me. It's very interesting, Rico. Let me ask you about when you did work for XPW. Can you talk about working the reunion shows back in 08, 09 with Big Vision Entertainment?
You know, I loved it. I was really excited because around that time, I think we had just started the wrestling school, the Santinos,
Yeah.
and that was like prime time, dude. That was like because before like a couple of years, I was like I said, I would do like lucha shows and like whatever shows. I mean, I would do like big time lucha shows, but like I wasn't like known like by the local like SoCal fans, I guess, like the American fans.
Okay.
And I think that XPW, what year was it? 2009 could have been the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. Well, there was. Were you at the
Oh no,
Battle
no,
Royal?
the one in
Redondo
Redondo Beach, right?
Redondo Beach was the Dynamite D Battle Royal,
Yeah,
and
so I was in that one. Okay, yes, and then the following year was the other one,
it was
I believe.
XPW 10-year
Yes.
anniversary.
So, dude, I was super excited to do that one in Redondo Beach. I
Yeah, that
was
was.
like, I loved it. I was in the Battle Royal.
Mhm.
Um, Personally, I feel like I should have been had a better spot in the Battle Royal, but
Hmm.
I gave my respects
Yeah.
to the guys that were ahead of me in training when I was there. Like we're talking about, we're in 2008, like 7 years after XP, like 6 years after we stopped training at XPW.
Yeah.
But like I remember, like I really, really wanted to be like one of the final guys. 'Cause I feel like I deserved it. I mean, I'm sure we all did,
Yeah.
but I feel like I always felt like I was the better of the bunch. Like I said, with all due respect
Yeah.
and to everybody, and I love everybody there. And I believe the final ones were like I think maybe Robbie, Phoenix, and like Carnage, Eddie Carnage.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
man,
Carnage.
somebody else. I can't remember who it was. I could have been like, oh, can I be? I'm pretty sure it would have been like, okay, but I felt like those were the guys that were like an XPW, like the class before me, that I think maybe at that time they kind of were like the ones that deserved to like get that shine in that battle royal like towards the end, if that makes any sense. Just like gave them that like fuck it, I'll get mine eventually. I guess if that makes sense. And I
Yeah.
think Eddie Carnage won with like a flaming clothesline, like he lit his arm on fire, and I don't remember who he threw out, but like he's the one that won.
I can't remember who he tossed out, but you're right. That's how he won it, and then he ended up giving the trophy, I believe, to Dee's mom, which was kind of
Yeah, I
nice.
remember. Yeah, he did give it
Um,
to her. It was really fun too. Like it felt like it didn't feel. It felt like the old XPW just because the people that were there.
yeah.
Who was it? Sabu was there that day. Well, man, I don't even remember. Who was the main? Was Shane
Terry
Douglas
Funk.
there?
Terry
I
Funk was
was.
there. Sandman was there.
Oh, that's right.
Raven was there.
It was like a big show.
Vampiro was there. Um, yeah, it was a big show. It was very well done, very well produced. Um, we had the Big Vision Entertainment behind it. Let me ask you,
Kevin, bro. Kevin Kleinrock. Fuck, I haven't seen him in a long time. I see him in NorCal sometimes up at Pro Wrestling Revolution.
okay,
But man, Kevin was
he's a
a
good
hard
worker.
worker, man. He was there with us until 3 a.m. doing ring crew too, man. Like, oh yeah, smart guy, good
Yeah,
brain. He was perfect for wrestling.
really was, man. Really is. Well, speaking of that, what is your thoughts, Rico, on this new reincarnation of another new XPW? And this time there's no Kevin, but there's Rob. Last time there was
I
Kevin, but
know,
there was
right?
no Rob.
Well, before we get into that, you
Yeah.
know how I was saying about the Battle Royal?
Oh yeah, please continue. Yeah.
So that was not. I got mine the following year at the 10-year anniversary. That's when I got my shine.
Yeah. Okay, right, right. You talk a little bit about the 10-year anniversary
And
show.
I just want to add that because, like I said, that year I was like, these guys deserve it, blah, blah, blah. But when we did the XPW X, the XPW 10, it was just a 6-man tag. It was me, a really young Ray Rosas, a guy by the name of Oso Loco.
Yes.
We wrestled against Lucha Machine, Seville Alvarez, which was Gino Rivera now. And it was somebody else. I can't remember who the third guy was on their team. But anyway, we had the best match of the night by far, a 6-man tag. We were opening match, and
Wasn't Willie Mack on one of the teams?
man, no, he was in like a 6-pack challenge after
Oh,
that match.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
But we had a 6-man, and the crowd was just so hot. It could have been that it was like the first match of the night, because I was kind of like, fuck, I was kind of a little unsatisfied because we were on first, and they had like Mariah. She was like in a death match, and I was talking to Angel, and I was like, man, I should be like higher up on the card, not like selfishly so, because I was like,
Right.
I feel like I should be, but like,
No, I
and
hear
then
you.
Chaos didn't do that show. I really wish he had, but he didn't do it. So then, whatever. That was like the most talked about match by like the local fans. That 6-man we had. So I feel
It's
like I said the year before it was at Battle Royal, and then the following year I was like prime time, and that was like the best match we had. I mean,
it's
in my opinion, of the night,
yeah,
like
it's
wrestling wise
weird.
and just pop
Yeah,
wise.
it's weird how Joey was at Cold Day in Hell in '08, but he was not at XPW X in '09. Billy Messiah was not at Cold Day in Hell, but he was at '09 XPW 10. Very
Yeah.
interesting right there. Just never really thought in that terms before. But no, that was cool to see you and the other guys get your shine in Cold Day in Hell and XPW X, and really just kind of show the fans finally what you were made of. And it wasn't that far removed, really, if you think about it, from XPW stopping at the time. But yeah, I do want to ask you what do you think now of what's going on, because it's part of what's happening. And this, we are talking XPW. I mean, when we first started Xtreme Memories almost 2 years ago now, we didn't have any idea that Rob was going to be starting anything new, 2 years ago, but it has started. And do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, when I first heard about it, uh, was it in the East Coast in New
Yes.
York, right? The first
November.
one they had,
November, yeah.
and I just kind of just saw a flyer, and I was like, is Kevin? I thought it was Kevin Kleinrock because he was the one that like did it.
Right.
When Rob wasn't there after the other ones.
Yeah.
So, but then I think Joey Chaos, he told me that it was Rob. Rob was running it. Then I saw you guys at the EWF, you and Manchichi.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I mean, what do you think about it? I mean, I think it's cool that they're back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched much of it, but I mean, I feel is there nostalgia left? I think so. I mean, I did a show at the Derby Room the week after you guys were there
Oh,
for
that's right.
EWF, and then there was people wearing XPW shirts that day
Oh, wow.
for. I mean, it was a EWF show,
No
but it was
kidding.
at the Derby Room where that show had
Yeah.
just been. I mean, as long as they keep it fun for everybody, it should be good to go. If the fans, I mean, there's deathmatch fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had one deathmatch in my whole career, but it, I'm not a big fan of deathmatches. I'm more of a wrestler or into wrestling more than deathmatches. But I know there's ways to do it really good. Like I
Right.
said, me personally, I've always like XPW was great because they had a death match or two, and then they had great matches, right, or hardcore matches or whatever. Uh, are they now? Is it all death matches, or is it a mixture?
It's a
Because
mixture.
I haven't really watched it. I just always see
Yeah,
the flyers.
it's like before. It's a mixture, you know. I mean,
Well,
would knowing that, would you work the new XPW?
I mean, I would just because it's Rob Black,
Yeah.
and I feel like he doesn't know me. Like he wouldn't like he didn't know the students. I mean, he knew us. Like, hey, what's that? Like he would always be cool, but like he didn't really know us per se. Like I'm sure, like if I were to get booked on there, like he'd just be like, oh, that's another guy. He would probably never know I trained there unless somebody told him. So like I would definitely enjoy doing a show for XPW because it's Rob Black.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's fucking Rob Black. I
I
don't know. I don't have any other way to say it. It's the guy that started it,
Yeah.
and it is just
And
it's
you have
Rob Black.
history.
So,
You have history.
I mean I would definitely be interested in something like that. I'm not interested in death matches. Not that they would ask me to do a death match or anything like that, but I would like to work for Rob Black, to be quite honest. And not a lot of people might say that because of whatever stuff they might think about him from all the whatever from all those years ago. But he never did anything to me.
Hmm, right. That's fair enough, man. Let me ask you, Rico, we touched on Dynamite D before, and all the fallen stars of XPW that you literally were a part of physically honoring them in that battle royal, along with all of us and the fans, but you guys really actually got to be in the ring to as that tribute, specifically the battle royal. But can you talk about passing along the legacy of Dynamite D at the Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy? Because I know um, he is definitely, as far as Joey's concerned and everybody, I mean, he's obviously held in high regard from all of us. But I know that's a big part of Santino Brothers is kind of passing on that work ethic and the legacy that of his teachings and all that.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, for me, like I said, I may be biased, but because he trained me, but I feel like at the XPW shows, the best matches were always Dynamite D versus
Yeah.
whoever,
Yeah.
Joey, Chaos against whoever, Hardcore Homo, like the local guys, the Supreme,
Hmm.
like Webb, like they had the best matches. Obviously, the stars had good matches. So like, I feel like honoring Dynamite D. Do you know the story of keeping the dream alive?
Yeah. Hmm.
So I guess those were the last words that Darren told Joey
Yeah.
before, like the last time he saw him, to keep the
Yeah.
dream alive. And when me and my roommate Johnny, we bought a house in Norwalk in 2007, and he was running hybrid pro wrestling, so we had the ring in our backyard, and we started training some guys for free
Hmm.
in like early 2008. Pinky Santino was like one of our first students. He was still in high school, Started training like a couple guys. It was like 4, 5, 6 guys. Charles Mercury, he brought his students in. But I was kind of like, I knew how to wrestle at that point, 6, 7 years in, but I couldn't really train anybody. I can
Hmm.
show you how to do moves and do like the basic stuff, like do spots. But psychology wise, I couldn't really, I couldn't complete from scratch to end.
Gotcha.
So I remember I told Joey, I called Joey, and I said, "Hey man, I have these guys here that they've been training for like 2, 3 months with me, and I've taken them as far as I can take them. So you want to come down to the house to like train or whatever?" And like in a week or two, him and Sylvia came, and I talked to Angel, and then Mongol came.
Hmm.
They trained with us for a couple of weeks, and then like me and Joey, we had a talk, and he just wanted to make it official, make it school. And I said, "You guys do whatever you want, man. Like you guys, the rings here, make whatever you want." So
Wow.
that's how we started school, Santino Bros Wrestling Academy, and our slogan was "Keep the Dream Alive"
Right. Yeah.
through Dynamite D.
That's awesome.
So, and that's, I mean, that's still the slogan: "Keep the dream alive."
Yeah. And that's awesome because I mean it is. It's say what you want, but it's keeping the memory alive. I want to ask you, you kind of touched on it earlier. What are your thoughts on Rob Black?
Like wrestling wise, Booker wise, anything.
Anything, any thought you want?
Well, let me tell you, I was very entertained in the early 2000s when they weren't running shows like live shows, but they were just filming like a
Really?
soap opera for like KJLA or whatever. You remember?
No,
You know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
know exactly
Like
what
it
you're
was
talking. I thought it
whatever
was awful.
Zulu and what all this stupid stuff. I thought it was very entertaining. So I think he has a pretty smart mind for wrestling. With having nowhere to do a show, I guess at the time, and making a still having to produce content.
Right.
I mean, he had a really good character as Rob Black. I mean, I want to say that he was probably himself, right? That's what he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've met him in passing, said hi to him, talked to him, hey, what's up? That's about it. Never struck a conversation, so I can't even really say, oh, I dislike him or
Okay.
I like him. I just never really. It was just like, hey, or bye, and that's it. I mean, I respect what he did for wrestling.
Yes.
I know they've talked. You know, we don't have to go there with all that bad stuff they talked about because this is we're gonna go wrestling today. But
Right.
hey, man, people might change after when someone messes up. Years go by and they might not be the same person that they were 20 years ago,
That's true.
or that people think that they were.
Yeah. It is, yeah. You can't. You. Yeah. That's.
So
It could be the case.
he's back
Um,
doing XPW. Have at it. Enjoy yourself. You know.
can I ask you? Did you watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode on XPW?
Oh, of course, yeah. That I definitely did. Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was really good. It was really well produced.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to say everybody there told the story that everyone's heard because I mean it happened when I was there. You know,
Right. All of us.
Billy, whatever, got kicked out. He was still coming to training, even though he was kicked out. But he would like drive up the side of the behind the alley, like late, like at 9 o'clock, and he would be like, he would ask Dynamite D, "Oh, is the boss gone?" And Dynamite would be like, "Yeah," and he'd get in the ring with us. And this was after like, not before the supposedly thumb incident, but like when they like just booted him out.
Right.
So he would still, come to training without anybody knowing, or like office people knowing. But I
Amazing.
mean,
Amazing. That's interesting.
XPW
Thanks for sharing that.
is. I was there when the students got in a fight at the Grand Olympic.
You
I wasn't
know,
a student yet. I had just got me and my go back to my roommate Johnny Suarez, Johnny Nightmare from Hybrid Pro Wrestling. We went to go watch the ECW pay-per-view. We took a picture with that day with I believe Chaos and Supreme. We saw him
okay,
walking in the building, and then fuck, we saw Joey throw the XPW sign, and then whatever happened happened.
yeah,
So we weren't students. We probably would have got our ass beat if we were students back then. But I mean, so I want to say a lot of things may be embellished in the documentary, but a lot of things are not. A lot of the stuff they
yeah,
say I mean, it's true. I
yeah,
mean, if you really wanna, more, as much as any of us do.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool. That's very interesting about the training coming in without Rob being there and all that. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's that window in between the stuff and then the stuff happening. But
Yeah.
I wanna before we close out, Rico. First off, thank you, man, for being on this show,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
for sure, man.
and it's good catching up with you. Really cool seeing you lately too, in the around town in the wrestling shows. And fans, once again, if you're enjoying this, click that subscribe button, that bell notification, throw a comment down. And before I ask the last question, do you want to shout out to anybody, or do you want to throw any plugs here?
Man, I have no plugs. I'm like a caveman, dude. I don't even have Instagram. I have my Facebook, Rico Reeks. That's all you can find me on. You'll never find me on TikTok, Twitter. I actually do
Okay.
have a Twitter, but I haven't used it in 10 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Just say hi to me at the shows. That's it, man. Enjoy wrestling, love wrestling, show respect to everybody. I want to say hi to John Weber, all my boys, all the old guys from Zach. Love you guys, miss you guys.
yeah,
BC Killer, Eddie, Sexy Chino.
yeah,
I want to say hi to Eric Malikian, wherever he's at.
yeah,
But plugs, no, man. Just for all the upcoming wrestlers, just be respectful, keep the dream alive. Hey, sometimes you gotta make $20, and maybe one year you're gonna make 300. You just
yeah.
gotta take the bookings. Take the booking sometimes. My first
Mhm.
booking, me and Steve Payne shared $5.
There you go. And I want to give you a chance to say some cool words like you said right there. I want to use all your emotion yet, because I want to ask you one more question. And Rico, what in your mind is going to be and is what is and is going to be the legacy of XPW?
Moving moving forward from this version,
Well,
or like all
in
like
general,
yeah, from
from
the
all
beginning, right?
down.
From the beginning, I think the legacy uh, of XPW for me will always be. I want to say the workers themselves, but
Hmm.
specific ones. I'm not even gonna say the stars like Terry Funk. All those guys helped out, but the legacy to me of XPW is Supreme, Kid Chaos, uh, Angel, the Hardcore Homo,
Hmm.
Johnny Webb, Billy the Messiah. Those guys to me are the legacy of XPW that had the best matches, and whoever drew the crowd, whether it was Sabu, Funk, whoever,
Right.
the crowd came maybe for them sometimes in the beginning, but once they saw the guys that I just mentioned wrestle, they're like, we're gonna come back because those guys are the ones to watch. Because
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I was there, and Chaos was wrestling. I think he was wrestling Pogo or something like that. And one of like three or four guys were like, "See, I told you, he's the best one." And they were putting at Joey when he was like Rock Superstar. He's like,
Hmm.
"He's the best one. He's the best one." So they would come for other guys,
Yep.
but they would stay for the for the main, like I said, the local best talent. To me, the
Right.
legacy is Supreme. Deathmatch King, forever. Him and the Messiah. Like the guys that I mentioned, Chaos. That's the legacy of bringing a lot of great talent to LA from WCW, from the local guys to go as far as myself and well, I forgot to mention Dynamite D, of course,
Yeah,
him.
of course.
His legacy. Kevin Kleinrock, guys like myself will be the legacy of XPW. All the local guys that pass it on to local guys that we will pass on to our local guys, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's going to be the legacy of XPW.
That's right.
The local guys to the local guys to the local guys, if that makes any sense.
It does, and thankfully, XPW basically was a platform that existed to get those local guys that were there at that time a major platform that they normally probably would not have got. So, no, I appreciate that, Rico. Well, brother, in case you can think of anything else, any shout outs, we're going to sign off. But thank you once again, brother, for joining us here.
Yeah, man, for sure. Hey, when are you guys getting Mr. California on here?
Oh, you haven't been watching, dude. He's been on.
He was on here, man. I thought he was. I've seen a couple of them, but I don't know he was on here.
He was just on. Yeah, well, I don't want to forget any of the Asylum guys. But we still got to get Zach on. We still got to get a few of them on. But yeah, he's been on, man. So yeah, archive him, man. Archive him.
Okay. See, I'm only saying him because he's like a little bit of an outcast. He was like, he's a cool guy. Just a lot of people talk shit about him. They don't know him. They don't get him.
I guess any press is good press. So if he's got a lot of,
but yeah, man.
If he's got a lot of views, everybody's voices needs to be heard, and maybe there's some curiosity there for people for viewing him. But no, he's a good dude, and yeah, maybe misunderstood at times. You're right.
Well, no, I want to thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Rico, and thank you for being on here. And my name is Kris Kloss. My guest, Rauchy Rico, aka Rico Dynamite, aka Joey Rico Dynamite, tribute to Dynamite D, Chaos, coming to his own. This is Rauchy Rico right here. My name is Kris Kloss. We will see you next time on Xtreme Memories.
Catch me at Santino Bros. That's where I wrestle now. I'm gonna
cut.
Are we cutting? Are we cutting?
We're still on. Go ahead.
Let me do my last shout out. However you want to do it.
Go. Yeah.
Most of my work will be done now at Santino Bros Wrestling.
There's your shout out.
World Wrestling Revolution in NorCal. I'm really loving that Michelada Rumble stuff and the Taco Tuesday. Hey, we gotta have fun now at the end of my career.
That's right.
Hanging with my buddies. That's it.
Well, he said he didn't want to have any shout outs, but there's the shout outs right there. Rico Dynamite. All right. Rico Dynamite, thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll see you fans next time on the next episode of Xtreme Memories right here on the Wrestling Chatter YouTube channel. Subscribe today.
Thank you for watching Xtreme Memories, hosted by Kris Kloss. He's dropping new episodes every month on the 15th and 30th. You can be the first to tune in by subscribing to the Wrestling Chatter channel right here on YouTube. See you next time.